Energy is the magic word. Everything in our living world is energy. Life itself is energy. We, as human beings, are filled with energy. Our bodies are created and maintained by energetic processes. An understanding of this basic reality is still alien to modern Western medicine. The reason being the historical intellectual fixation on visible and measurable matter. A fixation that came about as a reaction to the authoritarian interpretation of the world by religions. The separation of matter and spirit by the philosophers of the Enlightenment overcame the dominance of religion in popular thinking and established modern science, which limits its perception of nature to the five senses. As a result, scientists of that era considered only matter which could be recognized through pure observation as worthy of investigation. The spirit, and thus all invisible, non-measurable energetic processes, were tainted by association with religion. The rationally minded wished, and still wish, to avoid falling into the clutches of religions whose leaders believed themselves entitled to dictate to scientists what is allowed and what is not. The taboo on the scientific investigation of spiritual and energetic processes is a direct consequence of the collective trauma stemming from the witch hunts and burnings which went on over centuries and ensnared anyone, male or female, who thought differently. It is a millionfold trauma that persists to this day, is firmly embedded in our society, and leads to a heightened level of fear in the collective unconscious. Behind the rejection of spiritual energetic healing powers by many scientists lies the unconscious fear of being ridiculed, banished from civil society, and ultimately put to death. Because these processes take place within the collective subconscious mind, people are unaware of them. The rejection of energetic healing is an automatic response, a collective reflex that bypasses the mind. Reflex responses can, however, only be justified in situations of immediate danger. Later, when the danger has passed, and especially when the time comes to analyze the natural world scientifically with dispassionate intellect, such automatic responses have no place. Because, at this point, they rob us of our reason. The continued existence of this reflex indicates that the danger is not yet emotionally over, that many people living today are still collectively so traumatized in their deepest souls by the millionfold slaughter in the Middle Ages that they cannot see reality and the forces at work in it. We suffer from a collective post-traumatic psychosyndrome in which unconscious fear leads to the suppression of common sense and, as a result, to total ignorance of natural energetic phenomena. The result is a distorted view of nature, A fundamental barrier has thus been set up in the scientific world, which prevents the observable from being investigated. In rejecting all spiritual, energetic processes in the human body and soul, conservative scientists make a twofold mistake. On the one hand, they reject spiritual connections so as not to expose themselves to religious authoritarianism and, unconsciously, to deadly persecution. On the other hand, they adopt the same automatic condemnation of all spiritual healing from the monotheistic religions, which demonized such spiritual healing powers as manifestations of the indigenous, nature-based religions that were to be eradicated and whose healer practitioners were to be burned at the stake, drowned, or simply hanged from the nearest tree. In this way, the entire Western scientific world has adopted the very belief system that it actually wanted to move away from, and into which it is determined not to fall back under any circumstances, come hell or high water. Because it is a completely unfounded belief that energetic spiritual forces do not exist, or, if they do exist, that they can only cause evil and harm people. As long as matter had not yet been researched to the last detail, and its exploration continued to produce new, valuable findings, even without the assumption of a spiritual background, this was not so bad. However, since matter has now largely revealed its secrets and even DNA, our genetic code has been deciphered to the last building block, research into life's mysteries is no longer making any real progress. We are going round in circles. Since we were presented with the indisputable findings of quantum physics, which prove that matter breaks down into something that has never been associated with matter, namely energy and connection. All of this under the gaze of physicists, it should be clear to everyone that in order to better understand life, we need to expand our framework of understanding. The invisible world of energy and the relationships between the energetic units now comes into consideration. For this to happen, Western science would have to abandon once and for all the belief that the invisible does not exist and is therefore not worth investigating. It is a belief that is nothing more than the religious dogma, which should no longer have any place in scientific thinking. If only a third of the world's research funds, many billions, were invested in clarifying the energetic background to the phenomenon of life, we would soon have proof of what the doctors and healers of this world who work with healing energies have known for a long time, based on their own experience. Matter is generated by energy and sustained in its existence by energy. Energy permeates the entire universe and connects all its parts into a functioning whole. There are energetic structures that cannot only maintain order in the universe and all its parts, including the human body and the human psyche, but also restore it in the event of disruption. In addition to the energetic forces that maintain life in its healthy functions, There are, however, also energetic interference fields that lead to illness and pain. Most interesting for medicine is the fact that healing energies also exist. Similar to the Earth's magnetic field, they are present everywhere, are totally geared towards recovery, and have the power to heal physical illnesses and also mental disorders, or at least to make a significant contribution to healing. This book is intended to open the eyes of my medical colleagues, of the scientific community, and of all people who are interested in the background of life to the highly interesting world of energy which forms the basis of life, which permeates all of us completely, and to which we owe our existence. But the most positive aspect is that these energy worlds contain forces that are able to heal us on all levels. This book is my legacy as a doctor to the world.